Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerd Age. This is the show where we talk about everything nerdy. My name is Mick, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts Josh,
What's up?
Corey,
Yo.
and Jonah.
Power Rangers.
Oh, sorry, that went over my head.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We're just gonna jump into we're gonna jump into some D&D movie talk. Everybody else here, but myself, has seen the movies, so
A failure.
It's a tradition. One of us has to not see it, and then we spoil it for the other person.
missed John Wick 4 last week, so it was
who's
my
not gonna
turn.
Who's not gonna watch Mario next week? Any
Nose
volunteers?
goes.
Oh man,
Oh, Mick was last one.
I can't do 2 weeks in a row, guys. Come on.
Sorry.
Uh,
We didn't make the rules up right now.
okay. Well,
We discussed this.
It's tradition.
Yeah.
anyway, so
Yeah. Dungeons and
go
Dragons.
for it, guys.
Honor Among Thieves. Right? That's the full title of it. Yeah. Should we probably do non-spoiler
yeah,
first?
let's do non-spoiler.
Sure, we can do
Non-spoiler
general.
first, and then we'll go into spoilers a little after. So I was excited to watch this movie. I don't play D&D like Corey and Josh do, so it might be a little... I'll be curious to see people that know a lot about the game and play, what their reaction is. But the more trailers I saw and the more clips I saw, the more I was like getting excited for this movie. And I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was funny. I thought the humor was clever. There were a few jokes that didn't land that I thought were kind of dumb. But for the most part, I thought it really worked. I thought the action was really good. And even there's like some heartfelt moments that actually worked for me. So there was kind of an emotional storyline through the movie that felt like it worked for me. Even though there was a lot of humor in it and it was more your typical action comedy, it still landed when it needed to. And so I really like this movie. Curious to see what fans of the game think, because for me, there was a few references I got, but most of them went over my head. So I'm curious to see what you guys think. But I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really good.
What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I liked it as well. It was definitely more of like an action comedy, which is kind of what I gathered from the trailers, which I think that they did the right thing about not being like, let's make a super serious D&D movie and take ourselves super seriously. They were definitely like poking fun at stuff, and they went the right route. Like, I think they hit the perfect tone of, like you said, Jonah, like some heartfelt moments that I was actually surprised about. Like, oh, this is like some good storytelling and some heartfelt moments in there, some good action. And I thought the comedy, for the most part, landed with me. I'm kind of in the same boat. There were a couple jokes that I was like, well, that's kind of dumb or whatever. It didn't really just hit with me. But overall, I thought it was really fun. Yeah, really enjoyable. I think they did a good job of also balancing like broad jokes and then like more like, oh, D&D jokes kind of a thing. I think they struck the perfect balance of like, if you've never played D&D, you could just go in and watch the movie and still understand what's going on and still enjoy the movie and not be like, well, what are they doing right there or whatever. Yeah. So I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think, going into this movie, I knew exactly what we were getting. I mean, from the trailers, I kind of knew what the vibe was going to be and kind of the attitude. It was just going to be a fun adventure, and it wasn't going to be taking itself too seriously. And I think that's a really good thing, because I think when people think of D&D, they think of, it's Satanistic and all this stuff. And it's like, it's not. It's more like friends sitting at a table, storytelling together, and just having a fun time. And honestly, more than half the time, you're busting jokes at each other and just making fun of each other and just having a fun time, trying to do dumb stuff and, being stupid in a lot of it. And sometimes just kind of throwing stuff together and seeing if it works. And a lot of this movie felt similar like vibes to sitting at a table with your friends, just having a fun time, enjoying creativity and imagination. And so that's the part of this movie that I think was the best. There were some jokes that, obviously weren't the best for me. I think also the middle was a little long. It kind of drew on. I also wish they didn't put that speaking with dead joke in the trailer. I thought that was really funny, but then I saw it so many times in the trailer that I was like, it lost its magic. And I was like, I really like that joke because it was funny and it happens. Like it's happened in podcasts that I've watched where they didn't fully understand, and then they talk to each other, and the guy's listening and he answers, like that kind of stuff. The stuff that happened in the trailer, it's like it's funny, and I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, it was good. It was a fun experience. It was a great entry point for people who don't know what D&D is. I think it's very approachable. The fact that you were saying you really enjoyed it was really good. I mean, that's kind of the goal, right? To make a movie that's accessible to everyone. And so, it's surprising how popular D&D has gotten, and it's awesome. And I think that, kids watching this are going to like D&D even more. So. Well, the
other thing that I liked about it is it looked really good too.
Yeah, definitely.
The CGI was good. They spent time on it. It wasn't just kind of like,
it wasn't like a cash grab.
Yeah, let's just throw this out there. But it seemed like they took care in how they were doing it. So I thought the CGI was really good. I thought the fight scenes were like enjoyable for me, where it's not just like, oh, I've seen this before, this is getting boring, but it was like, it kind of like different set pieces, different things happening. I thought that was really good. And even the interactions between the characters I thought were unique. So I just enjoyed, there wasn't a part where I was like, I'm getting bored of this. It just seemed like everything kind of worked. And I'm a sucker for Chris Pine. I really like him. And I feel like this is one of his better movies. Like his way of playing that character, if you've seen a Chris Pine movie, you know how he acts, but I just thought this was like a return to form. To like, I liked his dialogue was clever. I thought he was funny. I thought everything he did was really good. And the other thing I really liked about this movie was the music. The music was really good. Yeah, like just how that felt like it belonged in the world. It didn't feel generic to me. It just felt like, man, this is good quality, and it feels like it belongs in that universe. So I just think, for me, all around, it was just kind of like the acting was good. There was one character that I thought maybe was a little weaker, the Olga character, but I think for the most part, she actually did a pretty good job. So to me, it kind of really worked. So I really enjoyed it.
Back to the Chris Pine point you were making, a lot of people, especially in like Marvel movies, it sounds like they're reading a line or a joke that's written generically. And they'll deliver it generically. The way Chris Pine delivers it is he puts his own spin on it. I'm sure he kind of took his own, but the way he just delivers it felt like it was from him. You know what I mean? So like I found it very authentic, and it felt really good coming from him. And if he was a bard, we'll talk about this later. If he was a bard, he's supposed to be very high in charisma, and he's supposed to be very convincing and very good at talking. And so he fit that character very well. If he was a bard.
That's what I would say about Chris Pine, is that word is like, he's very charismatic and like that
everything was very natural.
That whole idea of like, even how he like has back and forth with people is just very him, which I like. And so to me, it fit really well. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, no, I agree. All the acting was really well done. I think Michelle Rodriguez, I don't usually like her in very many things because I feel like she's typecast.
Yeah,
it's like tough. But she was actually pretty good. I thought I was going to have a problem with her in the movie, but I think she kind of nailed her character. Chris Pine, there's something about his cadence and delivery that's just really well done. And like that, you guys talked about, he's got that kind of quick banter, and he delivers his lines well, especially when he's delivering like, little quips or whatever. But yeah, all the cast was cool. The druid was cool. Just the way she was doing stuff. I liked the kind of the relationship between the characters. And then there's one character that I thought was probably my favorite, and he's not in very much of it, but we can talk about that in the spoiler section.
Cool. So overall, what would you put a score on it?
I'd give it an 8.8.
It's really good. I would put it at 7.9. I just couldn't put it at 8 personally. What'd you put it at?
I have it at 7.8.
Okay, nice. Still really good. I mean, that's so close to an 8. That's practically like, that's really high.
And I'm almost to a 9. So
I mean, and Rotten Tomatoes had it at like what, 94 or something like that. 92.
Yeah, both the critic and
it's like 90. It's like 90 and 80.
You know, the funny thing is that critic score went up real quick. Like the initial score was lower, and then it went skyrocketed. Because I don't know if maybe like I don't know if it was like when they were rating it, but it was weird. But like it matched the actual audience score pretty well. I think it was like 91 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was very, very surprised. It was really good.
Yeah, it's a really fun, enjoyable movie. It's one that I'd watch again. I can't say that about a lot of the movies that we've seen recently.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like, I'm not going to watch that again. But yeah, it's definitely a fun movie. Really fun movie.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll do well box office wise, or?
It made 73 worldwide. I think the budget's 150. So I mean, it should.
Yeah.
I think word of mouth is most people are saying it's enjoyable. For those people like me that see a Dungeons and Dragons and like, what's that? You know, I think if they hear, like word of mouth is this is a really fun movie, people are going to go and watch it.
I didn't think they'd push out John Wick. I know it was the second weekend for them, but I was just kind of surprised that they even topped charts.
Yeah.
So
Was it PG-13?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really clean. I mean, there's
clean.
not anything that you're really going to be like, that's,
Yeah.
So like I said, we went with Ethan and Jason and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And so, I really liked
Did they enjoy it?
Yeah,
I'm sure
Ethan
they did.
really liked it. Jason fell asleep.
Did he
Jason-
really?
but
You
Jason
guys saw
saw
it late,
them.
right?
Yeah, it was like at 10.
10, 15.
Yeah,
He said
that's
5
late.
minutes and he fell asleep, and then he caught the last 20. He's like, I really liked the last 20 minutes.
I mean, but like we went to the 10:15 showing. The movie didn't start with all the previews till 10:50.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
no way.
It's insane.
So you guys were walking out of there at like 1-ish? Or
yeah,
close to?
12:45 I think was what we.
Dude, that's late.
But yeah,
Dang.
so we're gonna go into spoilers a little bit. So yeah, this is my.
Casting a spell.
Yeah, he is casting a spell.
Speak
So
with dead.
if you haven't seen it, go watch it. You can come back.
You know the drill.
Oh, yeah.
You know the drill. You know the drill.
To what Josh was saying earlier, his favorite character I think was probably one of my favorites
Which
too.
one? The Paladin?
The Paladin. I thought
He was hilarious.
I
was
thought
pretty
he
good.
was great, and the dialogue between him and the other characters, to me, was really well done. I think there's a level of like when you have a character like that, if it's dumb writing, it doesn't work. But I thought the writing was actually pretty clever.
Yeah.
And so I know it might be some people might be like, oh, they're making fun of this character, but I just felt like it kind of worked with everything. Where even Chris Pine is like the whole thing where he's like, he has a problem with those guys. Like, he has a history kind of thing, and he hates that character. And he's like, well, he can't be good. And then everything he does is like, no, he's straight laced. Everything he does is good.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really good.
It was like it's such a it's a cool way to kind of show you how D&D is.
Yeah.
Because that character was not a player character. He was probably someone controlled by the DM to kind of point them in the right direction.
Yeah.
Set them on their way. And I liked how clear cut he was. Like, yeah, paladins are like stalwart and like righteous and they want to do the right thing. But it just reminded me, I just imagined a DM controlling that character and just like pushing him in the right direction, trying to address this Harper and his backstory aspect of it to try to make him address it. And it's like, it was just nice because it was like, this feels like D&D very, very much so. And that moment down in the Underdark, when the sorcerer steps on the stone to like mess up, like that stuff happens all the time. You got to troubleshoot, you got to figure out a way around. And like, it was so funny because the way he was like, oh yeah, every odd one except for the fifth rock, you can't step on, you got to go left. And like, it reminds me of like how DMs kind of like overcomplicate like dungeons and stuff like that. And it's like so cerebral. And then in the end, you mess up anyway and you figure out a way around it. That's D&D.
Yeah.
That totally is. And so that was, I thought the Underdark part was really cool. Because it's also a familiar spot in D&D.
So
I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Is the movie like, is it like a Jumanji thing where they're like knowing that they're in a game?
No,
or is
no,
it
no.
just is
It's
the
just
world?
yeah.
Okay. I think that's probably better.
Yeah. It's just, you're just go along for the ride, basically.
Yeah.
But they do they do a lot of smart things where they'll mention things where if you're used to playing D&D, you're like, oh, yeah, that's funny. Like even just from the get-go at the very beginning, they're like, he's basically pleading his case to get let out of prison, basically.
funny.
And he's like, they're waiting for someone because they want him to come. And he's like,
Jonathan.
What is it? Jonathan?
Jonathan.
He's like, is Jonathan going to be here? Because he's missing my whole backstory. So it's like a backstory in D&D is like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is my backstory. This is what I've done before. So like the fact that they just casually mention it, it's just like they do a lot of things like that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's such a familiar thing where you're taken captive, you're in a jail, and you're making plans on what to do, and you could tell they had made so many plans to do this thing to escape. And it's like, it's so funny because they would have been released anyway, but like they still went through with the plan. It was just so funny, and it just fit so well with D&D, like just the general feel of it.
Yeah, and even going back to the paladin character, I can't remember his name, like Xanu or whatever, but just the fact that he's like didn't get humor. Like he's just perfectly like was a funny like character trait of like, oh, what are you talking about? Like taking everything so seriously.
Like, I was being ironic. He's like, I feel ironic. People who are ironic, it cuts them the most or something like that.
Cuts them the deepest.
I was like, that's so funny.
But even like there's little jokes that I was like, it wasn't like a laugh out loud, like, oh my gosh. But like even when he's like walking, he's like, man, he just walks in a straight line. Is he going to go around the rock? And he just goes over. That kind of stuff was just like, really subtle, kind of just there, and then we're on to the next thing. I just thought it was really well written, and again, that comes back to like Chris Pine and his delivery on certain things. But I feel like each character kind of had, like even the mage character.
Yeah, the sorcerer, he did the same thing. Like he had his own way of doing his own
his
stuff.
jokes were all like kind of self-deprecating, like he has no confidence, and they kept going back to that, and it just. Like every time we'd make a mistake, we'd just be like, well, okay. Like it just really fit well because I feel like the characters were written well. And it goes back to even what you guys are saying. Like if different people are creating their own characters, you know, kind of they put their own personalities into it. And I just felt like the characters were so unique even in that aspect of things. Even the villain guy, who's played by Hugh Grant, it's like his character
Forge or something like that?
Forge.
His character was kind of like, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get this character throughout the whole thing. Yeah. And it made sense. And it was kind of, to me, it just really worked. Every character that they had in there. So like I said, it was one of those movies that I'm like, man, I'll watch it again. I mean, I might get it on Steelbook, you know, if Best Buy still does Steelbooks.
Yeah.
But I just think it was really enjoyable for me.
Yeah. I think that it really struck good levels of like, fun, and it reminded me of like just people having a good time, just like like being like their character, doing things that their character would do, and just trouble comes from that. And I love the idea, you know, later on in the story, kind of jumping ahead a little bit, where they have to figure out how to like break into this vault. And it's like the way they solved that reminded me so much of like a plan we would come up with, where they're like, oh yeah, we have this portal gun, it's like we can put it in a painting, and then like I thought all of that stuff was really like cool. The way they shot that was really good, and it all made sense. Yeah, like logically, I was like, if that's a portal, okay, yep. And then when they get in, and then the like painting falls down on the concrete, it's like that would like that's so perfect. And you got to roll with the punches. You got to figure out a way in. Yeah,
yeah. A lot of the stuff that was happening, I was like
kind of more of a heisty movie at that point. You know, it changed gears a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that was happening in my mind, I was almost even thinking like, oh, he rolled low. You know what I mean? Like when they're trying to get in and they drop it and then they're trying to pull him back in. Yeah,
there's
it just seemed like a lot of like, I was like, oh, you know, well, he had to roll for that and he just rolled really low. And so now they have to, you know, roll against that to pull him back in and they have to figure it out. Yeah. It was just really fun. And yeah, I think a lot of the scenes looked really cool. Like I really like how they shot that scene. And then even earlier on when the druid goes in as the fly and she's flying around.
Turns into different animals. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and they like she has to escape and it's almost like a one shot following her out through. It was just just visually really.
And the owl really cool. bear was awesome.
Can I just do a quick PSA real quick? Just to potential people who want to play D&D, okay? Druids are cool, but they cannot transform that many times. That is unreal. She transformed like 20 times. Unless she's a level 17 druid, in which case you can technically wild shape infinite amount of times, which is crazy. I don't think she was a level 17, but maybe she was.
I think she was.
But so, you know,
Just a little
rain down your
caveat. Yeah,
expectations when you're playing D&D.
When you play a druid.
Also, Holga, her name, at the beginning, she took on like 6 dudes. That also is something that may or may not be feasible to do by yourself. You might get destroyed. So unless you roll super well, I guess constantly, which she apparently did.
Yeah.
That is also kind of crazy. So I'm just a PSA to all potential D&D
Don't want to get
players.
people's hopes up. Right?
Well, you can still swing for the fences. You can certainly try.
I also really like the joke with
But it was cool. It was cool.
with Olga and her husband or ex-husband
With Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper
as a tiny dude.
What the heck?
That was
Had to have been halfling.
that was awesome to me, and just how like the new girl comes in, she's like also like really big, and then
She's bigger than her.
yeah. To me, I laughed at that more than I should have.
Yeah.
I just thought
It was so weird. It was weird, but it was also funny.
Yeah, I don't know if it worked quite as well for me.
yeah.
I just thought it was funny seeing Bradley Cooper, like just the way Bradley Cooper was acting, like, oh, hey, how's it going?
He's like such a soft-hearted,
it was,
soft-spoken guy.
That was funny, but I did like the payoff at the end where she's
Yeah.
looking at the other halfling and she's like bites her lip. You're like, oh, geez.
So you got a thing for small people, little people. Yeah, that was funny.
that was good. And then going back to your comment about the jokes in the trailer about the dead people, I thought that was one of the best parts
that was
of the
the best.
movie.
That was
how
so
that
funny.
scene kept going and going, and how they had to figure out, and then
the
it was
other
showing
guy?
like the guy getting out of the tub. He's like, "That's my brother." Like that was to me was like one of the best parts of
That
the
was
movie.
very funny. That
Because
was
I
very
think
creative.
again the writing was really well done. It wasn't just like, and the actors again, Chris Pine, and how he delivered the questions or how he would ask something like that just really worked for me. And so that was one of the best parts of the movie.
I saw a lot of interviews for the directors and also the actors, and it's like you can tell just how the movie was done up, that they played and that they experienced it before they even wrote this game or this movie, and so you could just tell that love was taken and special like attention to detail was there, because understanding that spell. It's perfect. It worked perfectly. Nothing that happened was like inaccurate, which it doesn't really matter, but it's just so perfect to have such a funny, series of like the poor guy at the end, like, I need one more question. Like he's just stuck alive or undead alive. Like he just wanted to be asked one more question, but those moments don't happen unless you understand what the game is at its core. So it's cool to see that attention and that care taken to kind of bring this movie to a good level.
Yeah, and I think that was one of my favorite scenes as well. I think that's when it really kicked off for me. As like at that point, I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm fully in." And I kind of agree with you, Corey. I wish they hadn't have shown. At first, I was kind of bummed. I was like, "Oh, is that all we're gonna get?" But then it's like an extended sequence. And
sorry, I sent you guys that clip.
I know, jerk.
That's just a trailer.
But yeah, then it's like that's a very easy joke to just like be tired of instantly. You know what I mean? Like it's I could see it happen in another movie where I'm like, oh, we're still carrying this joke out. Huh? Okay. And this is dragging on, but just, I think it's a credit to the writing.
Yeah.
They switched it up. They did different things.
No, and they did the flashbacks.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I think was so good. They'd flashback to how they died.
Yeah.
And then you just saw the guy get out of the tub, knock his head on the ground, and he died like before the battle even started. That was hilarious. No, was that my brother or something like that?
Yeah, but the way that sequence was written was really well done.
Yeah. So I think we sung its praises, I think, enough. Some things I didn't like. I think that just to kind of cap off the reason why it's not into that 8, 9-ish is I thought there was a little bit of an issue with. I think Forge was one of the weakest characters. I think he was okay. But you know how Chris Pine felt very natural and the lines almost came from him. His felt more generic. And then also I felt like the threat was weak. It felt weaker of a threat. I don't think he was as evil as I thought he should be. Like he kind of was a soft, like he wasn't as like evil as he should have been. I know that the sorcerer or the wizard was the real bad guy.
Yeah.
But she was so generically plain that it's like, yeah, she's just the pure evil. Yeah, she's the bad guy, but there's no like connection threat. I wish that they threatened Kira, I think her name is Kira, her daughter, his daughter. I wish that her life was at risk or something like that, like more. I mean, I know he held a knife to her, but like with the sorcerer, I wish there was something a little more personal happening at the end. I wish that's the only thing that fell flat. Not fell flat, but it was just not as intense or exciting, the ending for me. And also the fact I think I got a little biased because I know that she was at least a level 17 sorcerer. I know I'm being a little dumb here because she casts a 9th level spell, which is time stop, which is so insane. So I was like, there's no way these scrubs could take down a level 17 sorceress. I know that sounds super nerdy and stupid, but we are called the Nerd Age. And we all call it Nerd Age, okay?
That's right.
So
never apologize.
So I will say that is the reason why it's not an 8-9 is because of the end / like the bad guy. I'm such a bad guy. Like I'm so into like the payoff at the end and good versus evil, but like that was just too clean cut, I guess, and too black and white for me. I wish there's a little more to it.
How does it work? So, you're saying like she should be a higher level, so they wouldn't have been able to do it. But how does that kind of work out?
It's just a little.
No, but I'm saying like
irk to me.
How does it work out with like you have 4 characters going up against one? Does that kind of change the dynamic at all?
For sure.
But you're saying they weren't leveled up enough to.
So if we want to get into technicalities of this, I know we don't have a ton of time, but with a source or with a wizard, the problem with wizards are they're super squishy is what we call them. They don't have a lot of health and they don't have a high armor amount. So they're easy to hit and they die quick, but they hit freaking hard. So when she's casting these meteors from the sky, I think that's Meteor Swarm, which is also another 9th level spell, which is like insanity. If any of those hit, they'd be done.
Which none of them did. Okay, guys.
He cast shield and blocked it. It's not a roll. Okay, I don't want to get into this because it's stupid, but like
we are the Nerd Age, bro.
That should just kill them.
Yeah,
that should be the end of it. But it's for good storytelling. The spells look sick. That's one of the coolest things is her hand, her like almost like demonic hand versus his like
that was
Earth
cool.
and Grasp. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's like some dude's name, Earth and Grasp or something like that. And those are fighting. That was a cool moment. I love the meteors falling on the side. They just look cool. And then the horn, I can't remember, Horn of Horus or something like that. Whatever the horn was. Those are real items. Those are real things in D&D. Not in real life. It's not a real thing in real life. Wow. But just D&D. So all the things of like turning people undead and like raising an army with that horn, those are all accurate things. So that is cool. Yeah. So it was very cool. I really enjoyed it, but those are little things at the end that kind of took me out and I wasn't as invested. So those are my only complaints.
Yeah, I do agree. I think for me, Forge, I think was fine because he seemed like he was kind of doing his own, like he was in it for himself. Like that's fine. I do agree with the sorceress. She was pretty just like straight laced, like I'm evil because I'm evil.
Because I'm a red mage, evil. Red wizard.
And so they didn't really give us much of a reasoning behind it. It was just like, oh, I'm a red mage, so that's that's what I'd be doing, you know?
And I assume she was some kind of lich by the look at her, so pure evil. Like there's nothing else there. Like, I don't know. Maybe if there's something connecting her to something else to kind of see maybe her drive. And
I think the problem was, with the paladin character, when the other guys show up, there's like a recognition between them. They're like, oh, I can't, like they know each other.
Yeah.
And so like, you're kind of more invested. You're like, oh, there's a backstory here. They know each other somehow. And he fights them off. But then we don't have that connection at the end with her. She's just like,
there's no payoff from that moment. Yeah.
Well, I betrayed you guys before.
Well,
and that's it.
You only got a quick kind of like really quick backstory of what happened before kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think if they would have had more of that, like throughout the movie, where you see more, that would have worked a little better. Yeah. But it just kind of seemed like generic bad.
Yeah, and this is me just picking apart. It's still high, like almost an 8 for me, and it was really enjoyable. And I respect that they tried to keep it like really accurate. Very cool. I don't know exactly what was going on with I can't remember his name, the sorcerer, the guy on their team sorcerer. What's his name?
Is it Simon?
Simon. Yeah, Simon. I don't know. He had this device that he was spinning. So I first thought that he was a wild sorcerer. Wild sorcerers, every time they cast any spell, and this could be the reason why, he wasn't so good. Every time you cast a spell as a wild sorcerer, there is a chance for you to fail and also cast a random weird spell or like hurt yourself or make yourself levitate on accident.
Well, that's what he does at the beginning.
Right. So I'm like, was that him like spinning the dial of the wild magic? So that might have been it. I didn't know if you need components for each spell, like dust or diamond or whatever to like spell cast. I don't know if that was it.
I don't know.
I wasn't too sure, but I thought it was cool visually. It looked cool. What?
Well, no, I like the joke where he's like, "You smell that? Fresh grass."
Fresh cut grass. And that was a reference to Critical Role, actually.
And everyone's like, "You're the one. What is this? You're the worst."
Dude, that was dope. He's collecting all their jewels, dude. That was dope. But yeah, there were some cool references. Like I think we said before, there was the reference to the 80s cartoon. And then Fresh Cut Grass is a character, like a robot character from Critical Role. And I know that he watches Critical Role, so that was a cool little addition. And there's little things here and there. But yeah, really fun.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is I think why I liked it is because I feel like at the end, the emotional beat.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
I thought it worked really good. And like the whole time is
that's a good message.
He's
too.
I'm trying to revive my wife.
Yeah.
The daughter never knew her. And then it was kind of like that shot where then it shows all the moments where Olga was raising the kid.
Yeah.
To me, that worked really well. And I was like, oh, it actually feels like it's not just rushed. It's you've actually earned it because she's been through the whole movie kind of. So to me, that really worked. And I think that's why I give it such a high score because that moment hit well for me. If that would have been done poorly, it would have been like, it didn't land. But that really landed for me. So that's why I think that was really worked out.
Odds of getting a second one?
I think it depends.
I think they'll do a second one.
Think so?
I think it'll depend on how the box office goes.
Yeah, the final numbers.
They're going to have to get a bit more. And Mario's coming out, so that might dent it a little bit. But cool. I hope it gets a second one.
Me too. I think that they could do well to do that. And it'd also be nice to see maybe if they can get the Paladin in it a little bit more. That'd be fun because I think the kind of dueling personalities with the straight-laced lawman versus the charismatic joke quippy guy. I think that was really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Well, yeah. Let us know what you thought of, if you've seen it, let us know what you thought of the movie. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. It looks really good on the big screen. So it's a good time. So you can go and watch that. I would recommend it.